Welcome back, viewers. This is South Speaks. Now, perverts are everywhere, and wherever they can't be, their cameras look like they surely are. Now, in a shocking incident that's come to light from Bengaluru this time, a 23-year-old employee of Third Wave Coffee in Bengaluru has been arrested. He's been arrested here, viewers, for hiding a mobile phone in the women's washroom, which had been, of course, recording women in the washroom for about 2 hours. At least that's the preliminary detail that we have. The investigation is currently ongoing. The incident occurred on the 10th of August when a woman discovered the phone. This was concealed in a dustbin. She alerted the management. Then, of course, the police got involved. And this employee, who's been identified as Manoj, was terminated immediately, and the police have taken action as well. Authorities, of course, are investigating to now find out if he had actually was in the habit of doing something like this. Now, at this point in time, he faces charges under voyeurism laws and also the IT Act as well. Now, we spoke to the police officer who's investigating the matter. Firstly, let's listen to him and a few other reactions.
We have registered FIR based on the complaint of the complainant, and we have apprehended and arrested the accused. The accused in this case is a 23-year-old boy from Shimoga district, Bhadravati. He used to work in that coffee shop for the past 1 year, and he resides at the place nearby in Palace Puttali. And we have seized his mobile, and we have sent it for forensic analysis. Once the report comes, then we will take up the further. As of now, as per his confession statement, it is his first offence as he has confessed. But only based on the FSL report, then we will verify whether he has any other video clippings recorded earlier to this incident.
Let me open this up. Brinda Adige, women's rights activist, is with us. We also have Deepali Bhatt. She's a model and an entrepreneur from Bengaluru. Dr Harish Shetty, psychiatrist. Khushbu Jain, a lawyer from the Supreme Court. All of them joining us today on the broadcast to try and understand this issue, how it can be dealt with, and whether there is a way, to get away from it. And more importantly, can establishments really take steps to ensure that this does not happen? I'll come across first to Deepali Bhatt here. Deepali, at this point in time, I'm going to ask you at the outset, when incidents like this come to the fore, do women really feel that, is there a place safe enough for them? We've seen incidents like this in trial rooms where cameras have been kept in, shopping malls. Now we're looking at a cafe where an employee is planting a camera there. How does this make you feel?
I'd firstly like to begin by saying, as it is, day-to-day activities are very difficult for us. Like, even stepping out of the house, we get dirty stairs. Trying to cross the road, people, try to just play around. If you're walking in a crowded area, they take advantage of that and brush past you. Now, when you speak of places like, which are slightly on the higher end, we automatically assume that people are, well educated and dignified. And that's the reason we prefer going there and paying that extra money to get even a simple coffee. Now, if we do not have our safety, even in such places, in spite of, being among such literate crowd, then I really don't know. Should we fear every step and every second that, we live and go through our daily life, or how is it? Because as it is, being a woman is difficult. I'm sure you can understand what I'm trying to say. You go out and ask any woman, I'm sure there is not anyone who's said that I've never been teased or I've never felt unsafe. For us, every day is a challenge, and such things happening just, add more trouble and pressure onto us. So I don't think that feeling of safety or security I have felt, and these things just make it worse.
Yeah, especially like you were mentioning, of course, for example, a coffee shop, many of them today who have an option of working remotely prefer going to coffee shops. They spend long hours there. This is a place that they assume is safe, considering the crowds that come there. And they don't think that, something can go wrong. And when an incident like this really comes about, it really shakes you, and it shakes the conscience of many people, of course,
absolutely,
who are given taking a vow to ensure that, they should protect women and their safety. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm saying that, given the Bangalore traffic and the long journeys, etc., I look out for places like Starbucks or something to just take a washroom break. Now, I'm scared. Where am I to go? Even basic necessities like this has become a hassle if such incidences keep coming. And who is to blame here? Where do you start the blame game, and how do you just refine and, sort of make sure that such basic safety procedures are followed and we feel safe?
Okay, let me bring in Khushbu Jain here. Khushbu, the question that's being asked is who do we blame? And how do you put an end to this? And at the end of it, if you could also give us a perspective as to women who go through something like this, what are the options before them? And under the new law, is there more stringent punishment? Is that a way to deter such perverts? Or, bring in laws so that, you have establishments that could have probably they could bring in more accountability, do thorough background checks of their employees?
You have answered the question with your question. Let me go step by step with the section. We have got new law in place, the new PNS. Now that PNS specifically talks about voyeurism, and voyeurism is something that is punishable up to 3 years. It's up to 1 year if anybody is found who is watching or capturing or disseminating any private images of a woman without their consent. Now, this term private act is also defined over there very clearly. So anybody who's doing the crime for the first time can be punishable up to from 1 year to 3 years. The same is there in the IT Act as well, where it's punishable offense up to 3 years. If the person is found to be committing this crime second time, third time, the punishment can go up to 7 years. So punishments are there. Now, the second aspect that comes is implementation of these laws and making sure that timely justice has been done to the women so that it becomes as an example. It should be viral by channels like you. So that let's say this starts, the trial completes in an specific time period. The punishment has been given to the culprit. So that sets an example that if you do such kind of an act, the punishment is this, and that has also been implemented and the person goes behind the bar. This is one example which can be taken care of. Apart from this, the second layer of question of yours was that who do we blame? How do we feel safe? Yes, every second day you're taking up situations where a woman is being, when it comes to hostel, when it comes to cafe, when it comes to changing room, when it comes to taking an auto rickshaw, we are feeling unsafe. How much, where, what all places do we need what?
Yeah.
This change has to come on the part when it comes to making sure that there is an accountability. And then accountability is where I'm talking about that at least when it comes to public places, certain measures have to be taken care of. I was very advocating the aspect of having CCTV cameras and other things. But apart from this, in scenarios like this, we need to have a mechanism in place where these companies who are offering changing rooms, private areas where washrooms or other scenarios like this are the places where you need to have a regular check, regular inspection that can be taken care of. You need to sensitize your employees about that. There should be a regular check about their well-being and their mental state, what mental state they are into and what exactly not. They can go to a layer next where digital devices of the employees are being regularly being checked upon. There should be a supervisor at these areas who can have that inspection being done. I understand that the company sitting in place A and having offices or their branches in 40 different locations, you cannot blame a company sitting, a corporate office sitting there. But the way you have other things, you have this entire management, let them have management who looks into these areas as well, so that these areas become secure. We can't tomorrow think of if such kind of situation comes, we are back to the same scenario where your parents are scared to send your daughter to those cafes or to take public transport or to do such things. So all this fight goes for a toss if we don't bring in those kind of accountability and those measures in place which are regularly being taken care of.
Well, very interesting points that you made. To add to a few, while I was, of course, discussing this matter with a few people, and of course, many of them have been talking about it. They say, women now say that they're even worried to, shop at any store where they'll have to use the trial room. They instead prefer online shopping because, they fear something like this could happen. But once again, you were just referring to what sort of steps management could take. Brinda, I want to bring you in here. Because at the end of the day, you cannot say, well, this is a pervert, it can happen anywhere, it's of incident, the management can't be held responsible. There can be steps that every management can take, and probably should take, isn't it, Brinda?
Right, Deepak. Management at no point can absolve itself of its responsibility. It is the management that must extend that confidence to every person coming into that cafe, that they are safe. Their privacy will not be invaded. And it is the job of whoever is in charge of whatever branch to make thorough routine checkup, probably hourly, probably every day. I don't know. They need to devise all of these ways. There are perverts, like you mentioned, everywhere, different levels, all kinds. But that said, I want to reiterate to what Ms. Kushbu was talking about. There must be certainty of punishment and swift punishment. Having laws and filing a case, and now we wait for the FSL report. Okay, how long will it take? Will it take 15 days, 30 days? Or will it go on and on? We need to be able, the justice system, the state mechanisms, and the machinery must be able to say these are cases that can be tried immediately and punishment meted out, given immediately. The immediately means in the first 90 days, if not 100 days. Because often the burden of being safe, of being careful, of not watching around, of being whatever is on the woman. There's nobody else taking responsibility for it. Oh, why did she? If this woman, this girl, this lady, whoever went in over there, probably was very, very, observant. Not everybody is observant. We all are in a hurry.
Yeah.
Go into the toilet and come out. So how is it that this guy got away? And we must also keep in mind that our state governments and the union government do not have very strong laws where cyber crimes are concerned, nor is there swift action, because we know that these kind of people, like this culprit in the third wave cafe, are people who supply material for pornography, and and nobody's stopping this pornography. Nobody questions. Nobody is punished. Whether it is first level, second level culprit, punish them. Because you cannot leave this and say, oh, he is a pervert. Everybody is a pervert. And where is the education on the part of the governments to say that this is against the law and an action of this nature will be taken against you? If we can have a Swachh Bharat mission, why can we not have a Safe Bharat mission?
Absolutely. And probably this is not just a Bengaluru issue. This is an issue that as a country needs to be looked at, and every state and even the center should probably look at bringing in rules. Like you said, of course, the management as well should equally take the onus here, do routine checks in washrooms, in trial rooms, or any places where, women's privacy or anybody's privacy can be intruded, especially if you're running a business and if you're making money off the people. The least that people expect is for their privacy, of course, to be maintained. Dr. Harish Shetty, I want to come to you here. Two things. One is, of course, the women who go through something like this, and like Brinda was pointing out, and hopefully it's not the case in such instances. And in many other cases we've seen, perverts filming women in various places and then, selling that content to various websites. It, of course, leaves a big, it's a traumatic experience for a woman in particular. And more importantly, can people in the management really, when they do background checks of individuals, looking into a personality of an employee, is that something that could be considered? Are there signs to watch out for to know that anybody is capable of doing something like this? Give us a little more perspective into that.
That's a very good question. But let me explain to you, most of the psychological tests are qualitative, unlike the physical tests, which are quantitative, which means if you say hemoglobin is 8, hemoglobin is 8. But when you do a psychological test, it may not give you a clear-cut understanding of who will behave how. It will give you an understanding which may not be accepted by the psychologist who's treating the person, or a psychiatrist who's treating the person. So what is important is constant technological audit inside the organization. Mental health audit. How many of these organizations have a mental health policy? How many of these organizations have mental health checkups? And along with technological audit, a very good mental health audit of the company continuously. Oh, yes, you will do executive health checkups every year, but do you do a proper mental health checkup once in 3 months? Having said that, I agree with all the panelists that deterrence and punishment has to be fast, quick, and rapid for him to understand. But at the same time, when he's in jail, please give him corrective counseling, which will help him not repeat it after he comes out. So this is something which is lacking. Somebody laughed when one of the AAP members said, you need to put more funds in prisons. Yes, you need to put more funds in prisons. They're overcrowded. There are hardly psychiatrists or psychologists in the prison. So along with deterrence, you need to actually do a lot of corrective counseling. An organization should have mental health policy where they do audit of the IT and the place and the ecosystem. At the same time, do mental health checkups continuously. Just a psychological test or a 360 degrees evaluation or a personality inventory actually may not be able to predict for sure that somebody would do this or somebody would not.
Okay. Deepali, very quickly, if I can ask you, Brinda was pointing that out as well about what safety checks that can be done, be it in trial rooms, be it in washrooms or any place for that matter where women or men visit, and especially public places. Do you feel that either a security guard or somebody from the staff who goes there, does a routine check, marks that, in the last hour, this place has been sanitized for electronic devices? Is this something in a way that could be done by establishments? Would that really improve?
Absolutely. As you clean the toilet many times in a day, please make it safe.
Yeah, that was for Deepali. That was for Deepali. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
But fair enough. Yes,
yeah,
Deepali,
no problem,
if you
sir.
could go ahead as well.
Yeah, I think, that does make a huge difference. Okay, first thing, it brings in awareness for people who are even having the thought process of doing something like that. They know that they're on a watch. Okay. And second thing is, as they mentioned that laws are there, but the implementation is what really actually makes a huge difference. So if both of these, to start at ground level, there should be strict management and, timely routine checks. Bare minimum. See, even when we go and, book a hotel or something, we do the basic check. If the mirror is one way or two way, it just takes hardly 5-10 minutes. So I think if they schedule it like 2-3 times around a day, and if the employees are made aware that you are on a watch and there will be severe consequences to this, I think it will bring in a sense of safety for us as well. Just the way when you walk into a place and it says that you are under CCTV surveillance. Okay, the same way if the employees there are made aware. And
I agree with you. Even mentioning that there could be checks or following that protocol would serve. It would also ensure that the women feel safe, and more importantly, it could deter such individuals as well. I think that's a valid point that you make. Let's hope that from the governments and also from these entities as well, they themselves take it upon themselves to ensure that they have done enough, or they will do enough to ensure the safety of women, especially inside their establishments. Thanking all our panelists for joining us on this broadcast.